Hey guys, so this video is a reminder for all of us because I don't think you ever truly get to a point where this isn't relevant. Even if you've venerated Neville Goddard, if he is like to you the shining beacon of everything that has to do with mental control and mastery. Even Neville said in his books and in his lectures that he faltered, that he, couldn't always keep all of this stuff right in the forefront of his mind. And no matter what you have manifested, you're going to need to do this and remind yourself to do this and forget to do it sometimes. And that is when you see something in the 3D world that you don't like, no matter what it is. If it's something that tells you that you're not going to get the thing that you want, or it's something that's telling you, hey, you're not that person that you're trying to become, or anything, or even like any upsetting thing in the world, ugly thing in the world that that you see and that gives you a negative emotional reaction, an upsetting emotional reaction that you can't really do anything about, there's a very simple thing that you do to fix this, and that is simply you take your attention off of it and you put it on something else. You just take your attention off of it, like turning off a TV. You take your attention off of the thing that is upsetting you and you put it on something else. Still dealing with COVID, sorry. I've seen a lot in these communities, people talking about not reacting to the 3D. And there's a lot of advice that if you see something that you don't like, immediately affirm its opposite. Immediately affirm that you are going to be that thing, that you are going to get that thing. But I think aside from saying, oh, it's done, I don't have to worry about that, and this is my opinion, I think aside from saying, it's done, I don't have to worry about that, and then literally, like taking your attention away from it as fast as you can. Aside from one little affirmation, I don't actually think it makes a lot of sense to then start thinking about that thing's opposite, or start feeding a bunch of energy into the opposite of it. You know that saying, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy? I don't know if that statement checks out as being true, but basically, love and hate are two sides of the same coin. Apathy is just sort of like the absence of either one. And that's my personal route. It's just give it no more attention at all. If you've said it's done, if you're becoming another person, if you're getting something that you want and it's done, it's done. You don't have to sit around thinking about it. You don't have to sit around thinking about it being real. Just take your attention off of it and let it do its thing to come into existence. So I would say take your focus off of it entirely and put it on something else. And this can be a real problem for people who, frankly speaking, don't have a life. And, getting a life means a different thing to different people. To me, it doesn't mean you're going out and partying all the time. You have this big social life. Getting a life means you have other things to put your attention on. And fuck anyone if they have any judgment about what you want to put your attention on. It's up to you, what you're interested in, what you like doing. And it's really beneficial to develop a big, long laundry list of things that you want to do. Books you want to read, games you want to play. There's so many ways to entertain yourself these days. Movies you want to watch, things you want to study, you want to learn a new language, working on your body, like working on fitness. There's just so much stuff to do these days. This is not a time in history, at least not in the developed world, where there is a lack of things to do. So, figure out what you're interested in and start figuring out where you're going to, ahead of time, like make a game plan. When I think about things I don't like, I'm going to immediately remove my attention and put it on this other interesting thing that I'm into. You can do that. You can have sort of like a battle plan set up essentially for yourself. But, you do have to kind of develop a life and get into some things and start making this whole thing about you and what you're doing and, all that stuff. So if you suck at doing this, which is I think what most people suck at doing this if they have not put some conscious effort into changing this about themselves, this tendency to like focus on the negative or focus on what you don't want. Or if you weren't raised this way. Some people were blessed with being raised with parents that would correct them in this way, which is very annoying. My mom, this didn't really help me much. I kind of had to come to this on my own, but My mom was always like, you have to think about something else. And I was just like, but I can't. Why even? It was so frustrating. I must have been such a frustrating child to try to raise. I was just always like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. But so even with her trying to guide me, I still had to come to this on my own recently in the last like 10 years. But if you suck at it, the first thing you really have to get good at is even catching that you're doing it. The first thing you have to do is agree that you can do it, that this isn't just happening to you, that your emotions aren't just happening to you, that your thoughts aren't just happening to you. Hopefully you're at that point. I'm kind of assuming anybody watching this channel has come to that point where they have at least agreed that they have control over themselves mentally and some control over what's happening in reality. So assuming that you have that, you just have to catch yourself doing it. You have to catch yourself in that frame of mind, because, you know, it's so easy to just like dive into these thoughts about something and then just stay there until something else distracts you, the phone rings or something, you know. That's how I think the vast majority of people spend their lives, just sort of like going with it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if your experience is happy and peaceful. But obviously I'm not talking about that. So you catch yourself doing this. That's the first step. You catch yourself doing it, and you view it from the observer perspective and say, I see myself doing this. And now I'm going to stop thinking about this, like flipping off, like turning a TV channel, like turning the TV off. Boom, no more energy at this thing. Now it's going over here. And then the next skill that you have to develop is keeping it there, because there's a tendency for it to go right back. So the skill you're developing is basically removing your focus from the thing that you don't want and moving it on to something else that you do want, or that is producing a pleasant experience for you. And so, does this sound like something else that you've ever heard of? This is why meditation is just not some boring spiritual thing. Meditation is developing the skill of moving your focus where you want it to be. You know, when you meditate, you focus on something or nothing. You know, focus it on a point on the wall, or focus on a word or something like that, or your breath. And then what happens is your mind starts to wander almost immediately. Sometimes I've had meditation sessions where I swear to God, I lay there the entire time. I started thinking about something else right away, and I never got it back the whole session. And it wasn't until my alarm on my phone would go off that I go, oh wow, I was supposed to be meditating just now. You have to just keep doing it, because eventually, you know, your intention will build your skill. But the idea with meditation is you just, when your thoughts wander, you catch them and you just bring them back. You know, the goal, I guess, is to never ever let your thoughts wander, but that's pretty unrealistic, especially in the beginning. And, you know, there's no reason to punish yourself for finding your thoughts wandering, because the whole idea is to catch that, observe it, invite it back to focus on the thing you want to focus on until that becomes a skill, which then, I mean, apply that, get that skill, and you will be set with the manifesting thing. Because all you really have to do is have belief about something, know it's going to happen, know it's going to happen, and remove your attention from it. This is my whole life. This is my whole conscious manifesting life. And I'm not very good at meditating, but I'm pretty good at just not thinking about the things that I've already decided are done. So anyway, wrapping up this video, when you see something that you don't like in the 3D, whatever it's related to, stop putting your attention on it. If there is something in the world that needs you, have faith that you will be drawn to that thing. Have faith that if an action is required of you, you will be made aware of it. So I'm not saying like ignore problems in the world, especially if you can have some impact or you feel drawn to a cause and you want to do things in that cause. But the thing is, even if you're working with something, you know, one of these causes that aims to address something that's wrong in the world, you know, something that's wrong, you're going to be more effective as an agent of change if your mind is not focused on the negative. If your mind is focused on helping or the positive, you know, there's no benefit to you being in a negative state of mind. It doesn't produce anything positive. So this is pretty universal across the board. A lot of opinions of mine in this, so you have to take that into account. But I just wanted to make this video as a reminder, because it is so easy to just forget this, and I do it all the time. And becoming aware of what's happening and what to do about it is, you know, you can't do much with stuff you're not aware of. So I hope that this helped somebody, and have a great day.